Hello, BookTube. Over the last 3 days, there's been a little book fair near me, and it was there for 3 days, and I went every day. And this is just a quick haul. I know. Look at me hauling. I can't remember the last time I had done a book haul video. All of these like $2 each, so I was like got my crab claws out and grabbed as many as I could. The one thing you're gonna notice that there's barely any fiction here whatsoever. No romance here too. The romance era in me is just dead, and now I'm entering my like history nonfiction phase for some reason. At least that's what this whole indicates. And a weird theme is that everything I found was Churchill. They had a lot of Churchill there. I don't know why. And I decided it's a sign. And I found some other stuff too. So let's start. I've got an insane amount of piles here. A lot of them are on the floor, so I have to reach a bit. But let's start. So, the first thing we have here is Robert Menzies, a portrait by Sir John Bunting. Here is Menzies himself. I've always heard of this. What is it? It is a biography of him, but it's very much like an autobiography because it's like written as like a certain time in Menzies' ministership. I know John Bunting was a part of Menzies' prime ministership towards the end, and this is his account of Menzies towards the end of his political life. And I've never read it, and yeah, so we have this very short, so I'll get to it soon. You're gonna notice a lot of Menzies for some reason too. Again, it's just what the whole gods wanted. I then have a random biography of Robert Louis Stevenson. I couldn't turn this down. This is by Frank McLynn. I've never heard of him, but I like Robert Louis Stevenson, so now I have two biographies of him. We've got some political stuff here too. We've got The Latham Diaries by, of course, Mark Latham. I've read this before many years ago, and it's just crazy looking at Mark Latham's career, considering he was, the leader of the Labour Party, and then in only, 10, no, maybe a bit more, about like 15-ish years, would move to One Nation, and even One Nation would dump him because of everything he said. But this is before he lost his mind and went a bit crazy, and it's a very interesting account. But again, take it with a absolute bag of salt for what it is. Then we have Winston Churchill. This is the fourth volume in the Second World War. It's very old. I have read the first two volumes as a teen, but I never found any of them after that, so I unhauled them. But look at me, I have some Churchill. Then we have a Samuel Pepys biography. This is by Claire Tomalin. I love her biographies. Her Samuel Pepys one was actually really great, and here it is here as like a pretty much mass market. Same as Sarah Bradford. Her book on George. I can't remember what Roman numeral it is, but Elizabeth II's dad, pretty much. Then we have I'll move this back. One of my favorite finds was this The Selected Letters of Charles Dickens. I absolutely adore his letters. I don't even need his fiction if I have his letters and his traveling writings. Oh my god. But if you have not read the letters of Dickens, literally do it. You don't need to make your way through, that David Copperfield crap and all that, or all the twists. Just do his letters because they're really interesting. We have that. Then we have A History of Australia here. This is in the Australian Classics line by Marjorie Bernard. Here it is. I haven't read this book yet. I've heard about it, and that's really all I know about it. I know it's very long. So we have that. Then we have some more Australian history. Australia, a social and political history. This is some professors coming in to write about early Australia, and I want to see what they write. And then we have another highlight from this haul is the one and the only The Pacific War by John Costello. Absolutely my favorite World War II nonfiction book, probably ever. I have the big floppy trade paperback of it, and now I have the hardcover, so I don't know which one to keep, so I need to think about that. Then we have The Rum Rebellion here. This is another Australian Classics edition by H.V. Evatt, I think that is. And it's a study of the overthrow of Governor, I can't read that, by John MacArthur and the New South Wales Corps. So I literally know nothing about it, but I will when I read it. Then we have an absolute iconic book, The Last Grain Rice by Eric Newbury. What do you want me to say? Oh my god, one of the great travel memoirs ever, literally. I can't believe I found that. I can't tell you how fast I grabbed that. Then we have some Marlowe, too. This is the complete plays and poems. I have the Penguin complete plays, but I don't own any of these poems, so I took that. Then we have The Man Who Loved Children by Christina Stead in a big hardcover. It's just got green all over. I have a trade paperback, but I want the hardcover. It's The Man Who Loved Children, an absolute classic. And then we have The Whitlam Venture by Alan Reed here. I've made my way through every Gough Whitlam book I can find, and this is one I haven't read. This came out in '76, so after his dismissal, and that's all I know about it. And I know it's like more of a reflection of his prime ministership and all that, but I want to get to that. Then we hit more Menzies. This is Afternoon Lights. This is one of two memoirs he wrote about his life. I think this edition here has his accounts of Churchill, which is very interesting because they had a very strained relationship, if you would. But that was nothing compared to what Churchill thought of John Curtin later on. But I know this has something in like a fold-out paper because someone left a newspaper clipping in here. I can't find it. Maybe I took it out for a bit. But there is a newspaper clipping in here from 1953. I thought that was really cool, and you never see that much. So I have that Afternoon Light, and then I have the second volume too, which I already have. Next, we have more Menzies. This is Letters to My Daughter. I've never read his letters. I've read his poetry. But yeah, we'll see what Menzies wrote to his daughter, which is very interesting. Would be very interesting considering how long he was prime minister for. Then we have another Churchill book. This is the Second World War. This is volume 1, Gathering the Storm, and as you can tell, it's very, very worn. But it's mostly just the dust jacket, really. Outside of that, it's like literally perfect. And I want to reread this because I've again only read the first 2 volumes, and I only found volume 1 and 4. And then we have another Menzies book, Menzies, The Last of the Queen's Men by Kevin Perkins. Here it is. Again, another biography. I don't know why I have so many. This is weird. Then we have another favourite find. This is Alistair MacLean, and this is a bind-up of his novels here in perfect condition. He done HMS Ulysses, which is one of the great World War II fiction books. This also has The Guns of Navarone, South by Java Head, Where Eagles Dare, and Force 10 from Navarone. So I can't wait to get to that. I really love the HMS Ulysses book. So we have that, and then I've got to reach down to grab some more. And then, it's still going. We have a 3-volume biography of Graham Greene here. This is by Norman Sherry. The volume 1 and 2 are paperbacks, and then the third is a big, chunky hardcover. I don't really like Graham Greene. I've probably read 4 of his novels, but the 4 big ones or whatever. But he's just never done anything for me. And maybe he's one of those authors where I'll like reading about his life more than I do his actual fiction. Even The Quiet American didn't do much for me, but again, I'm due for very much to go back to Graham Greene at a certain point. And then we have another Churchill book. This is an absolute chunky book here. This is Road to Victory by Martin Gilbert in a big hardcover. I've never read this. I heard of Martin Gilbert, but I literally know nothing. Again, the only Churchill I've ever read is his first two volumes on the Second World War. But this is well over 1,300 pages, so we'll see what we think of it. So we have that right there. Then the last stash, I'll pick up here. We have Desmond O'Grady's Raffaello, And this is, if you remember my Ozbook video on the Eureka Stockade and that only first-hand account, this is a biography of Raphael himself. And it says it's the first book-length biography of him, and this was published in, I actually don't know, to be honest, 1984. So it took what, 100 years for him to get his own biography. But yeah, we have that. Then we have another Churchill book and Menzies. This is Menzies and Churchill at War by David Day. I think when people think of Australian prime ministers and Churchill, they think of Curtin and just how chaotic that was. But I don't know much about Menzies and his relationship with Churchill, really. And I can't wait to learn more. But we have only a couple more left. We have Henry James, A Life by Lion Edel, a big hardcover of it. I like Henry James. I recently found the Golden Bull as like an old penguin, and I was like, I forgot how crazy Henry James can be. He started off as a normal writer, but then all of a sudden, it's like, yeah, something went crazy in his writing life, and yeah, that's how you get the Golden Bull. I don't know how to describe what happened to Henry James's writing over the course of his career and all that. But I haven't read everything by him. But yeah, this is, I think, I'm reading it right now. It seems to be like a bind up because it's like a 5 life volume. But I don't know. But I want to have a Henry James biography because I like him, but I get why people find him a bit dry. Then we have Manning Clark, A Search of Henry Lawson. There's Henry Lawson at the back. I think this is more reflections on Henry Lawson. That's really all I know, but there's some lovely pictures inside too. So yeah, we have that. And then the last two things I found were the complete works of Banjo Patterson in two big hardcovers. Oh, that's a bit loud. I've had the Henry Lawson version of this, and I was so excited to find the Banjo version because Banjo wrote a lot more than Henry did when it comes to broad reach. He tried to write a novel, same as Lawson. Both tried to write autobiographies, which they gave up on. But this also includes Banjo's Patterson's dispatches during the war, the Great War, and yeah, I can't wait to go back to this. There's a lot of this I haven't read. I've mainly just stuck to his poetry and verse because that's mostly what you find of him. But I can't wait to get to everything else. And yeah, that's just a quick haul. There was a lot talked about today. And yeah, let me know what you think about the books I picked up. And thank you so much for watching BookTube, and I will see you next time.